video, we're going to work with two special files inside of Next.js, which are going to be the loading file and the not found file. So we're going to start with the loading file, and what the loading file is going to allow you to do is going to be to display a loading state for giving your users some feedback that the content for your page is loading. Let's say you have a little delay for getting your data from some API or some database. We're going to use that component to display some loading, maybe message or a spinner, or in this case we're going to do a little skeleton so we can show the user some nice loading state on the page. So what we need to do is, if we go back into the files here, instead of members, we're going to right click and create a new file, and we need to call this file loading.tsx, and we're going to create a new default export default function. We can call this one members. Let's call it, let's see what I have, loading members. So loading members. So the name of the component doesn't really matter, but it's good so we can name something that we can debug later and we can recognize the name. But the important the name is the loading.tsx file here. Let's just return a new div and an h1 with the text loading. For now, this is what we're going to do. So now that we have the file, we're going to let's go back to members, to the page, members page, and then let's do inside of the component, let's have a set timeout. So we can put a timeout of, let's do 4 seconds for now. Let's have a console log that says loading as well. That's not necessary, but I just want to have a little delay. So, so we wait for 4 seconds and then we'll display this. So while this 4 seconds pass, we're going to be loading the loading component here that we created. So now that we have the set timeout here, if we go back home and then go to members, we saw I saw the members being displayed in there, but it took less than that. Let's increase that to 5. Let's go home and let's refresh this here. Go back to members, and we saw the loading message there. So it waits for 5 seconds or 5,000 milliseconds, and then displays the component, this component. And then when those 5 milliseconds or 5 seconds pass, it renders the members here. So let's import that component just so we can see it at the moment, and then we'll remove it from here. So import loading members, and then let's just have a return loading members here. And let's call this the right way. Right, so that's what we see right now. So let's do a little skeleton here instead of just saying loading. So for that, we're going to install a plugin for Tailwind. So the plugin that we're going to start is Flowbite, and we're going to install it, configure this, and then just use it inside of the loading file. So let's open up a terminal. I'm going to stop the terminal here, and I'm going to run npm I Flowbite. And then we're going to, after the installation is done, we're going to go to the tailwinds.config file, and we're going to require the plugin. So we could go to tailwinds config.ts at the bottom, And in the plugins here, we're just going to bring this in inside of the array. All right, so that is installed. And now here we're going to, let's see, I don't think we need to do this because we're just going to use one small thing. So let's run this server again. And then we're going to try to create the component. So let's hide the terminal for now. And then let's see if we have to module.exports. I don't think we need to do that at the moment. So we'll continue with this for now. I think that should be enough for us right now. So let's close that file. And then inside of the loading component, we're going to use the skeleton here. So you can go to the documentation. So the website is flowbite.com. And then if you go to the documentation, you will find the components. And if you search for the skeleton at the bottom here somewhere, you can navigate to the skeleton page. And then here is going to be some examples that we're going to use in order to build something that kind of like looks similar to what we have in our page at the moment. So we have, now this is waiting 5 seconds. Let's comment this out. Let's refresh. So we're going to look at render something similar to what we have. This is taking forever. So let's go back to the documentation. And I already put together something small, but where I found it was down here. We have, I want to use like something similar to this. So this is the code here. We can expand it and see where we can grab the SVG here. So we can grab the kind of like the user image here, SVG, and then some of the lines here. So we can have something similar to this, right? So let's bring this back in so we can see the loading component again. Page, okay, here we go, loading. So in here, we're going to, let's see what we're going to add here. So let's keep this div in here. And to the div, let's add a row status. And then we're going to add a few class names here. We can grab it from here. So we could grab some of these classes here. So you can mix and match something that looks similar to the layout that you want to create. But I will leave the link to this documentation in the description. But here in the class name, we're going to put a padding of 4. Let's do space y-4 space y-4 border. Let's do border gray -200. Let me see, this is working. Okay, that's working. So basically we could just grab it from here, but I just want to show you a little bit of, you know, how everything is being set up. But you can have, you just copy and paste it from there. So I'm going to grab, let me see if I can find it here again. So we are going to go here and say divide. I'll just, let me see, let's just add it here. So divide -y, so we can have some, and then divide -gray -200, then rounded. We're going to also have a shadow, animate, pause for the animation. Then we're going to have dark, divide dash grade for when it's in dark mode. And then we're going to have, that is a 700. Medium size will be p-6. And then dark, in dark mode again will be border dash gray dash 700. Let's see how that looks so far. Okay, so we can see that is going in and out because we have some animation here. So cool. So right now, all we need is to grab, I want to create some sections inside. So in here, I want to create a div. Let's keep the loading here, but let's create a div here. And for this section, you can have different sections. We're just going to do a few sections here. So it could be something that you can play around with and create your own kind of like skeleton. So here we're going to have flex on this container, and then items is going to be center, and then justify between. And here's where we're going to put the SVG for the image here that we need. So in here, I have a small component that I put together. So I'm just going to copy and paste it and drop the link in the chat so we can create this one a little bit faster. So this one here is going to just be a component that is only going to be used in here for now. So this one is member skeleton. And then here we're going to have the SVG. To show the user, and then it's going to show just one line at the bottom. So something similar to this, but the line is at the bottom here. So if we render this component, the member skeleton, if we render that inside here, it will look something like this, right? And we can just render this. Let's do it 3 times, I think should be enough. 3 times. Let me see if that's what I had planned. Yeah, 3 is fine. So right now we only see 3. We can get rid of this loading message now. Right? You can even have more. We can even have one more at the bottom here, so it can look something similar to what we have. And then if you want to have some other section that looks different, you can just, you know, copy the div down and design the next section for this. But I'm just going to copy this down maybe 1, 2 more times. Let's do it 2 more times so it can look something, maybe 1 more, just so we can cover the whole entire space. And that's good for now. So this component is just going to have some of the reusable coding here. We can hide this one just so we can see what we have here. So now if I format this a little bit, that's fine. It looks pretty much the same. Let me make this a little bit smaller. And now we have different sections, right? We just copy this section down, but we can design something different if we need to display something that has different sections. But for now, we're going to keep it like this. And then we're going to go to the loading here. I mean, to the members page. And now we can delete this from here. Let's comment that out. And let's see how it looks. Let's have the set timeout back in here. And then let's navigate to home. Let's refresh it here. And let's go back to members to see if we can see the delay. So you saw that it displayed the skeleton for a few seconds and then it displayed the data here. So that's because we set the set timeout here so we can see it. So that's just trying to imitate the, you know, the data coming back from some database or some API. I noted these images are not fully centered here, so we could fix that too. Now that we have that one, the loading completed. So we could go to the member item really quick here, and it looks like in the link here we can add a class name, and we can say flex. Let's do flex dash call, and then let's do items center. Okay, so now that is center here as well. Cool. So let's see how this looks. All right, and they're wrapping. That's fine. We're gonna keep it at this. It's just that some of these names are really big. Cool. So now we have designed a quick skeleton page, so we can close that up. And now we can close the member item as well. And we could get rid of this or comment it out if you want, so you can test it later on. And the last one I want to do is going to be the nav found page. So let's close the member page for now. And then let's close this up. If we go to the members again, right click and create a new file. Let's call this one nat-found. We need the same exact name here, same spelling too. And then this one is just going to be a page that is going to be rendered whenever a member that we're looking for, so like by the ID. So we actually, let's move the nav found inside of the parameter here, because the way this one is going to work is that if we click on one of these here and the member we're looking for is not found, it's giving me an error because maybe of the file. Let's put some default export default. Let's call this one member not found. I forgot the keyword function again. Return a div. Yeah, let's do a div. Let's do parentheses around here. And then here, let's just do an h1 that says this member is not found, something in between those lines. All right, so now it's back in here. Let's format this. So if we click on one of these here, it will take us to the to that parameter, right? And then if we go back, click on another one, it goes in there. But what if we go to one of these that is not found? Let's say if we go back to the members, let's click on another one. Let's say if we're looking for parameter 400, which we don't have at the moment. Now it's going to say member not found, because it's going to render your special not found component here. And that is what's going to be displayed. So now we could maybe just add a few quick classes here, just not to make this video really long. Let's do flex, let's do justify center, item center, and let's do just say bg-black, and then let's just do a class to the h1 class name here. Let's do text dash green dash 500, and let's go back home, go back to members, go back to one of these. Let's do member 300, and it's not found, but I don't see our CSS just yet. And in order to see the CSS, we need to call it the right way. So we need to call whenever, if we go to our page here for each individual member, here when we do the check, if the member is not found, right now we're returning this h1, we need to import here the not found function. So not found from next navigation. And then we need to make sure we call it, if the member is not found, instead of rendering this h1, we just go into call not found in here. Now we can see the component being rendered now. If we go back to the component here, we could just have this div. Let's just have this height dash full, so we can take the whole entire page. And let me refresh it. Not dash full, but it's probably screen. There we go. And then we could add this 3, let's say font dash or text dash 3 3XL. Let's do text dash 3XL. Keep forgetting the name of the classes. Let's do, what have we used before? Text 2XL. So text 3XL. Oh yeah, it's working. Okay, it's working. So cool. So member is now found, is being rendered completely fine now. So for now, these are the two special files that we're going to see at the moment. Later, we're going to see a couple of more files that we could use. And that's it for this one. Right now, if we navigate to see what the app is able to do, homepage, we go to members, we can see the members. We have our skeleton rendering. And if the user is not found, we display the member is not found, not user, but member. And that's it. I will see you in the next video.